People have asked me why I enjoy watching Jesse Lee Peterson and his show, The Fallen State. And the reason is that Jesse Lee is a master at breaking down people who are what I call commercialists. And, they have all of the right talking points, and they have all the right answers when they're being interviewed, because they all are trying to sell something. And usually whatever it is they're trying to sell is a detriment to society, hence the name of the show being The Fallen State. And some of the ways that he questions his guests are so extreme that I often wonder how he's able to get a full show done, because Jesse's very masterful at seeing through the veneers, the fake masks people put on in order to appeal to a particular audience by mirroring back points of view that are very controversial in ways that they typically would accept, but they do not identify with when they are trying to market their materials. And I got to about 45 minutes in, and I was like, I kind of like this lady. She's, the things that she was saying, I agreed with most. I didn't agree with everything she said, but for the most part, I thought she handled Jesse's questions very well. It didn't seem rehearsed. It just seemed like she has lived it so long that she, was just speaking from what she says to people over and over, which I guess in some ways is rehearsed. But then he's just very masterful at being able to break through that, and he was able to do so. And then I decided, I'm not so sure about this person. Now, again, you have to evaluate each person individually on their merits, their character, and their consistent behavior. And so because he was able to break up, even my own interest in this woman based on how well she interviewed, I went to do some research on her, and my. So she'll probably get a little bit of attention because I am sharing this with you today, but I'm really doing this more to help people to understand how I listen to Jesse's interview. You can't throw the baby out with the bathwater, and, I don't have to agree with what the people say. I just need to hear what it is and decide for myself whether or not these are people who are for me or against me. And I don't believe that Jessie is against me. Callie, on the other hand, well, I'll let her speak for herself.
Life of raising our kids and working full time is so stressful.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. What's wrong with the blacks?
Your question. Sorry. I love you, Jessie. Oh man. What do you think? I know you have. I've seen you go viral several times on this subject.
And so what's wrong with the blacks? Not all, but most.
Not all, of course.
What's wrong with the blacks?
If there was one thing that I could change for Black America, like this,
yes,
I would remove all of the debased music. All of the music that is, because here's an example. I taught for 3 years. I used to take Black kids on college tours and help them get into college, because in my city, our graduation rate for Black kids was 40%. Rest of the city, 80%. And at that point, that's when I believe that we actually do need to have a real intervention for these group of kids, right? So I helped to get their graduation rate to 100% in 3 years. Yes. And so, but what I did is I took them on college tours. I took them on retreats. I let them see outside of their little ghetto world they were in. Right. Yeah. But here's what happened to one of my students who dropped out of the program. And actually I don't know what happened with him because I left while he was still a junior. But when he was a freshman, he came in and he was the sweetest, most innocent, kind, bright-eyed boy. And then he started listening to that debased gangster rap constantly in his ears, always in his ears, these messages. I think it's more powerful. People are like, oh, you're trying to brainwash your child by bringing them to church. No, what are you putting in between their ears? What are you putting in front of their eyes on the screen? That's way more brainwashing than some pastor in a sermon once a week, okay? He started listening to that debased music and it completely changed his character. He became this wannabe gangster kid. And I had been done with the program by then, but I found out that his senior year, him and his friend ended up date raping a girl. And I'm like, that was not the boy I met when he was a ninth grader. And I saw him I have seen this so many times, these sweet, beautiful children become corrupted by the media and the music that they are absorbing. And I think that's especially happening for Black America. So if I could change our music, if I could go back to the music that we had in the 60s and the 50s, like making some of the greatest music that's ever been made.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah. If we could have young people listen to that, all the love songs, we don't even have love songs anymore.
Right.
The songs now, I mean, you think about the love songs of the 60s and the 50s, they're just beautiful.
Amazing.
They're just, yeah. And now it's all about just disgusting stuff. I mean, I'll go to the gym sometimes and I'll ask them to turn the music off or change it because I don't want to hear this. This is, if you wrote down those lyrics and you said them out loud, you'd be like, this is so, it's like the most debased stuff you could say. And it's constantly in their ears and it's programming these kids to act differently. So if I could change one thing about Black America, it would be that.
A couple of other quick things I want to ask because of time here. Do you believe racism exists?
Remember when AOC was crying about January 6th and how she thought she was going to get killed?
And I didn't think that I was just going to be killed. I thought other things were going to happen to me as well.
So what sounds like what you're telling me right now is that you didn't only think that you were going to die, you thought you were going to be raped.
AOC wasn't even in the building that day. And the only person that was killed was an unarmed woman by a Capitol Police officer. Contrast that with Donald Trump getting a shot to the head, getting back up, yelling, "Fight, fight, fight." And now, do we hear him going and crying everywhere? And this is why I'm not that big of a fan of having a woman president. Like, save me the drama. Remember when AOC...
This is a safe space for white women. Your kind doesn't belong here. I'm pretty sure that I have Irish ancestors that were enslaved. I should get reparations. You do not understand my white woman experience in America. I mean, please do not talk for me. Where are all my lack of melanin sisters at?